Hey guys, Ethan here again, and welcome to a bonus video, video 6 of our 5-part series. And today we are looking at prophecy pointers, another feature in the Discovery Bible that will help you have a deeper Bible reading experience. And this one especially is really helpful when reading prophetic passages in the Old Testament, being able to understand the context and what people are prophesying about or predicting, which events they're predicting. And even in the New Testament, you've got multiple scenarios where it's helpful as well. Before going into it though, I wanted to explain why this video is separate or made a bonus. It's only a 5-part series, but this is video 6. And it's because the main point of this series, if you've been watching the last 5 videos, is that we were seeing what is lost in translation. We had the picture prompts, the way Greek and Hebrew prompt the reader to see actions a certain way, and how you're able to find those on a parsed interlinear and Bible Hub, but really easily in the Discovery Bible, they're accessible to you. We looked at word definitions and devotional definitions and the different resources available to you that you can use to better understand words that aren't translated that well. And then in video 4 as well, we looked at the emphasis of the original languages and how Greek and Hebrew have special ways of emphasizing certain words. All of those things impact translation, and because of translation, they're lost. If you were reading directly Greek and Hebrew, you would see those things immediately. But a deeper purpose of this series has been to be deepening our Bible reading and finding different resources and seeing what's accessible to us so we can have that deeper reading experience. I mean, that's one of the reasons I assume you started this series with us, why you started watching it and why you've reached this point, because you were looking for ways to add more to your devotions or the teaching material you're preparing. But this feature, prophecy pointers, is not related to translation. It's separate, it's distinct, but still a huge benefit and another way we can instantly give you helpful information without you needing to go to lots of other resources or needing to scan through reference workbooks. This is helping you stay in the Bible, understand the passage better without needing to, come out of the text of the Bible. So what are prophecy pointers? Well, like all the other symbols and features where you are instantly seeing what's lost in translation, prophecy pointers enable you to instantly see prophetic Bible verses. We have many different symbols that do this, and some of them are just numbers and dates. And what some of you are probably wondering is why this is significant. Some of you will be like, whoa, that's so cool. I can see all the prophecy verses, prophetic verses. But others will be wondering, how much it actually impacts the way we read. And just some statistics, 27%, according to J. Barton Payne, is predictive. 27% of the Bible is predictive, and this comes out of the Encyclopedia of Biblical Prophecy. If for those interested, this work actually played a major part in the Discovery Bible's prophecy symbols. We used the Encyclopedia of Biblical Prophecy as an initial guide because he goes through every verse of the Bible, tells you if it's prophetic and what it's referring to. And we used that as a guide of what we were going to display to the reader on the Discovery Bible. Another way of saying 27% as well is almost 1 in every 4 verses of the Bible has a predictive side to it. So what kinds of prophecies are we referring to? Well, there's messianic prophecies, where prophecies regarding the Messiah, Jesus, and his coming. We have prophecies regarding the Exodus. Before the Jews and the Israelites left Egypt, that event was actually prophesied about. We have the exile, another major event in the Old Testament where the Israelites are taken into captivity by Babylon, and Jeremiah and many other people prophesied about that happening because of the sin of the Israelite nation. And we also have books like Daniel, where he's got lots of prophecies and really crammed right next to each other. And these are the sorts of things that you'll be able to see with prophecy pointers. In fact, we show 40 different prophetic events, and you can see some or most of them here. For a lot of the Old Testament predictions, rather than having a different design symbol, we've actually just put the date there for you. So it's another helpful piece of information where you can see the Exodus happened in 1446, and the destruction of the temple happened in 586, just as the exile is happening. One thing I will point out is if you disagree with the timing of some of these events, like you don't think the Exodus happened in 1446, because there are differing opinions with that. One of the goals with these prophecy symbols is that even if you differ with how you understand certain aspects of it, you can still benefit from it, because that verse that you're reading still refers to the Exodus. And so whether you think it's 1446 or not, as you're reading, you can benefit from understanding that in the context. I love it because you don't need to remember all those dates. Some like to remember them all, but when you're reading through it, and in a passage like Jeremiah 30, where there's lots of prophecies crammed together, not only do you not need to remember those, what those are referring to, or what those prophecies are, but you can just click on 30 BC to be reminded of what it's referring to. Click on 605, click on 586, and the Discovery Bible will tell you which event is being referred to. I want to look at some more examples with you guys, just to highlight how this impacts your reading. And Genesis 22:18 is an example that we often go to. In the NASB, it says, "And in your seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed." This is God talking to Abraham, "because you have obeyed my voice." And when you see it in the Discovery Bible, there's lots of lost in translation nuances. We see emphasis, we see symbols and the picture prompts, but we're focusing on the little cross symbol. And that's what the Discovery Bible uses as its messianic prophecy. And the reason I choose this example is because there's a verse in the New Testament that confirms this verse being predictive of Jesus. And Paul says in Galatians 3:16, "Now the promises were spoken to Abraham and to his seed," and does not say "and to seeds" as referring to many, but rather to one, "and to your seed," that is Christ. So when you're reading this, even if you're not aware of that cross-reference, or you can't remember where it is, you can have that confidence as you're reading that I actually know what this verse is referring to. It includes Jesus Christ, the Messiah, coming through the nation of Israel. And another example I'd like to go through is Isaiah 65 verse 20, which, with the little crown, the gold crown you see there, we mark off as a millennial prophecy referring to the millennial kingdom. And before you close down the browser or exit the video because you think you understand the millennium differently, or we have different interpretations, I want to re-emphasize one of the purposes of this feature, and our hope was with it, that no matter how you understand certain prophetic events, you should still be able to benefit from it. And that's why I included this example. The millennium is something that's very, people love to debate about. There's premillennialism, there's amillennialism, there's postmillennialism. And with that in mind, the reason why we think that this symbol should still work, and all the other ones as well, is because for the most part, it's more the timing people disagree on. It's not the thing in and of itself. Like they all, in a certain way, believe that the millennium exists because of certain passages. It's just the form it takes or the timing of it. I mean, even amillennialists that I've spoken with, while amillennial literally means kind of no millennium, that's referring to no physical millennium, and I've heard them teach it as a spiritual millennium where Christ is reigning in the heart, and also when we die, going to heaven. So that's the kind of kingdom it's referring to, and so they see it as they make it have more of a spiritual meaning. And so that's why we think everyone should still be able to benefit from this symbol, because when you come to a passage like Isaiah 65 verse 20, you can apply it to the millennium, which it is referring to, we believe. And then the way you've decided, or how you've come to conclude on what the millennium is, or when it happens, that all comes outside of this symbol. So in reading it, we see, no longer will there be in it an infant who lives but a few days, or an old man who does not live out his days. For the youth will die at the age of 100, and the one who does not reach the age of 100 shall be thought accursed. And so in reading, you can come to this passage and realize it's a millennial passage of what it's referring to. And then, your disposition, premillennial, amillennial, that shouldn't it should still mix fine with what this symbol teaches. And we hope that's the case with all of our symbols. I mean, even we've got a tribulation symbol, and you have post-trib and pre-trib. Neither of them deny that the tribulation exists. They just disagree on the timing of it and the rapture's timing of it. And so when you read the verses, for the most part, I'm not going to say it works 100% of the time, but for the most part, you still agree what verses are referring to what. So that's Isaiah 65 verse 20. And one last example we'll show you is Daniel chapter 2. Sorry, you can't see Daniel chapter 2. Which is a very famous passage where Daniel is interpreting the king's dream, and we hear of Daniel's statue. Basically, he predicts all of the great world powers throughout history up until Jesus' time and beyond. And you can see in this passage all the different prophecies crammed together. So as you're reading, you would come to 539 BC, which is the silver part of the statue, if you're reading the passage, and that refers to Persia taking over from Babylon. And then in the very next part of the verse, where you get to the bronze, we have the Greeks coming, Alexander the Great in 331 BC, and then 633 BC we have legs of iron, which is predictive of the Romans coming. And what I love about this is not only you getting the information of what it's referring to, but you're even getting that extra benefit of learning about the dates as well, which can be very interesting. Continuing on in this passage, still in Daniel chapter 2, we see this happen again. And even the NASB titles in this case help us understand that 539 is Medo-Persia, and 331 is Greece, and then 663 BC is Rome. But that's, those NASB titles only occur here. Those events are spoken about in lots of other areas in Scripture, and we want you to know when that's the case so that you've got a better understanding of the context as a whole, and you can click on each of them and you'll be given the same explanation and definition. So that's all for this video, guys. Just some examples of prophecy pointers and how you can instantly see predictive Bible verses when you're reading a passage and have that understanding of the context. So I hope you enjoyed this bonus video of more ways you can deepen your Bible reading with the Discovery Bible. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.